Hi ho, it's off to storybook dining at Artist Point we go in this Disney Dining Review. This Disney Dining Review is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. If you like our content and you want to support us, book a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. You can get a free, no obligation quote today at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. This is also brought to you by our Patreon supporters. If you want to learn more information about how to get exclusive content from the Diz team, head over to patreon.com/DizUnlimited. Yes, today we are going to eat with Snow White and some of her friends and, well, at least one arch enemy in storybook dining at Artist Point. And wow, it feels like it's now been storybook dining for as long as I can remember, but in my memory, I will always go back to Artist Point. It was one of my family's favorite places to dine when coming to Walt Disney World, so it kind of was like getting stabbed in the heart by that hunter in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I think he put a deer heart in the box. I'm not quite sure. I don't think it really matters, but it did feel dramatic when they changed it, and I've gotten over it, and now I'm very excited to be eating with Rhino and Hannah. It's gonna be such a great time. We're gonna be dining in the forest. It's gonna light up, and you know, unfortunately, this is one of those meals where the appetizers are preset, the dessert is preset. We just have to choose the entree. So I hope everything is, well, hope everything's pretty good. At least the entrees we have a little bit of control from. I hope the character interaction is great. I hate to say it again, but hi ho. I think it's time to go eat. I screwed it up.
I would love to if that's okay. Oh, really?
Oh, are we both getting
the green ones?
You did surprise
Good to see you, Dopey. Give me the shakes.
I know.
I need a little bit of the
high five. Perfect.
Yeah.
I know.
How are you today? Good? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, did you?
Oh, you were working. Okay, in the mine. Yeah. Lots of
is
diamonds
awesome.
you find up there today? Oh, okay. I've been on your roller coaster area there.
Yeah, through the
seen
mine.
in the works up there. Yeah, very impressive.
What is that?
Could be careful. That could be evil queen, maybe.
Yeah, we need to hide.
Our story is no different. Honored guests, please welcome the Queen.
Oh no, Dopey!
We are seated inside of the restaurant. We just have a couple of things to go over before we get started. And
Quick
one of
facts.
those, quick flashbacks here. Which one is the price? Very important, right? $65 per adult plus tax and gratuity, $39 per child plus tax and gratuity. And what characters do you meet with that?
Can I jump in really quick?
Please.
It's 2 table service credits if you're on the Disney dining plan.
Oh.
You can meet Snow White, Dopey, Grumpy, and the Evil Queen. And we've met some of them.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've
Already.
It has been fast paced while we've been here. So the price also of this whole experience, you get 3 appetizers that are included. You get your choice of 1 entree, and then it looks like there's some shared endings desserts there. But we've ordered some extra drinks. The price does include a non-alcoholic beverage, but there are some other for-cost
I think
beverages.
there were 6
adult
special cocktails, right?
There were wickedly refreshing cocktails, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. We've gotten our appetizers, which we want to try and tell you about as well. So we'll get started here in a second. Hi.
Hi, Dopey.
How are you? Working hard today? Yeah, always, right?
Are they working?
Yeah, they never give you a break. It's terrible.
That is what we heard from Dopey. That is true.
Yeah. He said he was the strongest. How do you feel about that? Liar.
Yeah. We thought you would.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Man, that is hard to work.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that Evil Queen being here? Yeah, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Agreed.
No
Yeah,
good.
why should I show up all the time? I I know. I thought she was
This
gone.
lady ruins everything. Door-to-door salesman, worst one. Food killed somebody. We got some cocktails, as we do. You don't sit here with the martini mom and not get a drink.
That's right. I'm the
Okay.
influence.
Yeah, not when there's an evil queen running around and another lady who just eats fruit from a door-to-door salesman. I don't know.
That's true.
So I'll say what I got from mine.
All
I got
right,
I got
let's
a
hit it.
brew of peaches. It is Uncle Nearest 1884 small batch whiskey, peach raspberry brulee de Demerara sugar on the side there. You can see.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
was gonna say,
see.
what does that mean right now?
Well, it's usually like the sugar cube or something like that.
okay,
But so
gotcha.
they did a little cutesy thing, but
You lick it? Oh yeah, lick it good.
like that. That's how you get that in there. It's very heavy on the. Shockingly, this is a $17 drink. It's very heavy on the whiskey. Like I sipped it and I was like, sweet baby.
I was not expecting that. I was expecting yours to look more like mine.
Sweet baby grumpy.
That's right. Okay.
But I don't. It's not a well balanced cocktail. But I think I'm not unhappy. I'm happy I ordered it.
Well,
Were you trying to talk?
I am.
Oh, okay, you go ahead.
Yeah. I only like to interrupt you right now.
What did you get,
I don't
Hannah?
want to actually talk when it's my turn. So I'm feeling a little grumpy about my cocktail. I am hoping it makes me feel dopey though. I had the Alchemy because in case you missed it, I'm a gin gal. So yet again, this is made with forged gin, Saint Germain, elderflower liqueur, and watermelon. And that was $15, which $15 for a table service drink, not too shabby at Disney. It came out and I was like, is there alcohol in this? This looks like a pink lemonade.
Yeah, it does.
You
Yeah.
know, like a Minute Maid, something or another.
How's the watermelon come through?
Not at all.
Oh, really?
Not at all.
Oh, sugar.
I'm not really sure what it is, but it does taste sweet. I'm not really getting, and I feel like I don't know, I'm not really getting anything. I taste a little bit of the gin and like a sweetness, but I don't really feel like I'm getting that floral elderberry, and I'm not really getting watermelon either.
I don't like when the drinks come out in the full size glass because it's like
Yeah.
the amount of liquor in it doesn't change. It's just the like
It's
mixings.
more
yeah.
juice,
So
you know,
it's got a
so-
lot of that.
Yeah, I wouldn't order. I wouldn't order this again.
Is it
so-
tonic? What is it? Yeah. What is filling the rest of the glass?
Ooh, I don't know.
'Cause
I
it
guess
doesn't
whatever.
say-
Honestly, it just says watermelon, which makes me think this has got to be like a Minute Maid watermelon something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I definitely would have thought that would have been in a half glass because it doesn't say anything about gin and tonic. It doesn't say anything. like-
Right. Yeah, like if it had been like tonic, watermelon. And actually, now I think about
But
it,
it is bubbly.
Yeah. I don't know.
I smelled it.
And does elderberry and watermelon go together? I'm not.
Elderflower.
Elderflower.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
know
usually
anything
like
elderberry.
elderflower, so.
I don't know. What kind of
Would you get it
municipal
again, or
food
would
is
you
that?
pass on it?
No, I would pass. Hard pass on this. So.
I think because there's 6 interesting cocktails on it, or there's 6 cocktails, and they're all very different. I
Yeah.
think I would maybe I think I ordered what was probably the most solid, but there are others on here where I'd be like, I'd maybe give them an order on the next round.
I'm tempted by the evil to the core, and it's tequila, and it has habanero in it. That's orange juice as well. So that's you never
Not good
know.
for the tummy.
I know I didn't bring my Tums, so I couldn't get that one. So,
Craig, what'd you get?
Can't tell you what I had to drink because I lost it. I don't know where it went. I guess that means I drank it. But I did get the Smoking Mirror. It's Johnny Walker Black 12-year whiskey, Scotch, wildberry, lime, and rosemary smoke for $15. And the wildberry was like punching through the glass. A beautiful presentation. The glass is all smoky, and then of course they uncover it. They pour in your drink, so the presentation on it's beautiful. Could have used a little bit more rosemary in the smoke. That I felt that was lacking. The wildberry and lime were coming through the most, and honestly, Johnny Walker Black, it's not the best liquor that you could use for a scotch, but in a drink that's this sweet, it's not bad because it's just getting lost in there anyways. I don't think I would get it again. I would get Rhinos though. And moving on to our appetizers, as Rhino alluded to, the appetizers come out on top of your little stand that you have at your table, and you get all 3 appetizers. That includes a wild mushroom bisque with chive oil, hunter's pie. It's a turkey and chicken cranberry preserve crispy sauerkraut. This was served as a meatball, so it's really weird why they say pie. And then wicked shrimp cocktail, Bloody Mary vinaigrette, seaweed salad, spiced house-made seasoning. I thought the wild mushroom bisque was pretty good. It was a little bit chunky, not like big chunks, but it wasn't pureed enough. It started to kind of separate, but the flavor was good in my opinion with the mushrooms and seasoned well. I liked whatever that weird meatball was. I thought that the turkey balanced with the cranberry, the tartness of that really played off well, but could have used more sauerkraut. And then the shrimp cocktail, that was my like bottom of the list just because I didn't like the Bloody Mary vinaigrette. But I'm interested to hear what Rhino and Hannah had to say about them.
Hannah, what was your thoughts on the appetizers?
Well, when they first came out, so they come out on this beautiful, it looks like a tree because we're in the enchanted forest, right? And presentation was good, but there are 3 of us at the table and we each got, so you got 1 of each.
Yeah.
Soup, obviously that makes sense, but you got 1 shrimp.
And the meatball was like a teeny tiny meatball. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know.
It felt a little cheap. It felt a little nickel and dimey.
Yeah, and
Right.
I almost was like, I mean, what would have happened if we'd asked for more? You know, I guess they just would have told us no. But
You said that would be an upcharge, madam.
oh man,
That's what they
at Disney World,
Don't call me madam.
don't call me sir.
Yeah.
Anywho,
What was your favorite? Did you like any of them?
I didn't love any of them.
I didn't love any of them either. I'm going to be honest with you. I would honestly, there's not one I would go back for. I thought the Hunter's Pie meatball thing was a little too dense. But I think because
Yeah.
it was turkey and chicken, it was definitely more dense than like a ground beef meatball.
Okay, right.
I liked the shrimp cocktail the best, but I thought it was because they had that like spiced house-made seasoning on it, gave it a little extra zing
Yeah.
and pop. I did not care for the wild mushroom bisque. I thought it insisted on itself. I didn't care for it. I didn't.
I thought it was okay. That actually, like Craig, that was my favorite, and we're having a little party.
Yeah, we're having a little get-together.
I do
Okay.
really like this. Yeah, so actually that might have been my favorite. It was served in a very cute little cauldron, which I loved, and that kept it nice and warm, which I also loved. The Hunter's Pie, actually, I thought that would be my number 2, and I wish there would have been more than that.
All right, cool. You guys have the same numbers. Great. Okay.
Yeah, it's us against the world, okay?
For my core of the story entree, I went with but a little like spoiler alert. We stopped somewhere else before here in the Wilderness Lodge, and there was a lady Sammy over there who said to me that her favorite thing over here was the pork shank. So I went under that advice and I got the Magic Mirrors slow braised pork shank. It came with polenta and it says gastrique, which I'm not sure what that is, but it was definitely like cooked to perfection. It was like falling off the bone in here. There was a lot of that polenta in there, but ultimately for me, it just felt a little like the pork itself felt very sweet, but then the polenta was very like plain kind of flavor to it. So like they worked together because I feel like they canceled each other out, but it became like a little bit like too much for me while I had it. So I had a bite of everybody else's as well. Hannah's dish, I didn't actively dislike anybody's that I tried, but I don't know that there was anyone on the table that I'd be like, yeah, that's the one to come here for.
For my entree, I chose the cottage beef stroganoff, and it is described as tender beef, preserved vegetables. That's interesting. Let's see here. Spatzel, mushroom, and aged cow's milk cheese. It's another interesting way to just describe cheese, I do believe. So I'm going to be honest, I ordered this. I like stroganoff, but I really didn't look at the description. So when it came out looking like spatzel or risotto, I was like a little confused. That was on me, in all fairness. Also, the vegetables on top were carrots, broccoli, and cauliflower. And they did have a good flavor to them. They were steamed, but they had a nice crunch. They weren't soggy. I thought that was a nice addition, although not your typical stroganoff. It was very salty, and ironically, the other 2 dishes at the table were not. So I think that made it seem more alluring because it had good seasoning to it. I am so thirsty now. It was very salty, but did it have good flavor? Sure. And also, I'm just going to go ahead and reveal a secret here. The aged cow's milk cheese, I believe, was Parmesan, like Parmesan flakes. It was good, but it just, when I think of beef stroganoff, I think of something a little bit different, and this is a very unique version of that. It was a very comforting meal, a very filling meal. It wasn't, I thought it was okay. That's all I'll say for now about that.
For my entree, I chose the Royal Prime Rib Roast, so I'm definitely getting my money's worth here. It's a big piece of prime rib. I had mine cooked rare, and that's exactly how it came out. And it's served alongside horseradish mashed potatoes, carrots, jus, and then it doesn't list it here, but then it had a Yorkshire pudding with it. So, of course, the Yorkshire pudding's going to fill you up. Like I said, the prime rib was cooked rare, just how I wanted it. And, it's prime rib. I don't think you could go wrong with it. Like, it didn't feel like it was of a lesser quality, but if you've had good prime rib before, I would say it follows suit. What I loved on the plate was the horseradish mashed potatoes, and I was putting the horseradish mashed potatoes on top of my prime rib because that's typically how I'd eat my prime rib, with horseradish. Once I put that all together, I found a dish that I was very happy with. All put together, does it get me up to that $65 price point? I'm not quite sure, but I ate all of it but one little piece of fat because, I'm watching my weight.
Hannah,
Heyo.
we got to the sweet ending shared desserts part of the play, the evening.
We shared.
And we did share. In fact, we each got one of our own. So there were, all in all, there were actually technically 4 items, but there were 3 that were brought out to us. There was the Miner's Treasures, which was a cookies and cream panna cotta, chocolate gems included with that. They look like little chocolate rocks.
They were cute.
Then there was the Fairy Tale Gooseberry Tart, which was had meringue and gooseberry in there. And then there was the Poison Apple, dark chocolate apple mousse, sour center, and then what our server brought out to us in a smoky box was the Hunter's Gift to the Queen, which was Snow White's heart. So we each got a little heart.
It's a little dark, I know.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't care for that part. It was just little chocolate candies. I felt like something more exciting could have been in there.
Yeah, the chocolate candy too, it tasted like that, like that almond bark. It didn't taste like, it's not like you were eating a Hershey bar, it felt like. But the present, it was very cute. It was a surprise. I didn't know that was happening. I still liked it.
Well, how would you rank your desserts?
Okay, I'm gonna go gooseberry pie, gooseberry
I would agree.
tart,
Gooseberry
number 1.
tart, yeah.
I forgot we recently had gooseberries at Le Cellier.
We did,
pointed
yeah.
that out.
Ate a whole one. I don't think you're
didn't-
supposed to eat them like that, but we did.
No, I didn't. Honestly, I didn't know gooseberries were a real thing. I thought they were, like a schnozberry. They were made up by Wonka or Disney or somebody. So I thought that was great. I thought the gooseberries were nice and tart. Yeah, it tasted like a little bit like an apple.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
Craig looked it up, and he basically said there's like 2 types of gooseberry, and he felt like this one was to mimic like more of like a sour apple pie.
Yeah.
Which was good, and it was
liked
good.
it.
It was I liked the meringue on top. I thought
Would
it was
agree.
good.
I think we also agree on number 2, Miner's Treasures.
Yes, we do.
Okay, number 2, Miner's Treasures. I didn't necessarily. Is cookies and cream?
I didn't really get necessarily
either.
cookies and cream heavy.
No.
But it definitely had that. It definitely had that like cookie. Like I don't want to say Oreo because sometimes I feel like it's like the Oreo crust. Like when you get an Oreo crust.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like we say cookies and cream, like I want the middle of the Oreo, and I
But
feel
that
like
would make
part
it
was missing.
cookies and cream. You see what I'm saying? I also feel like cookies and, I don't know, Oreo to me has like a little bit of salt. I feel like there's a little bit of salt in the Oreo. Is that just me in the cookie? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm crazy. Maybe, I don't know. So I don't know. I thought it was chocolatey. It's panna cotta, so it was smooth. It was okay.
Yeah, it's a very dense, a dense jiggly texture, I guess.
Oh.
It made it felt like it was mocking me. But,
Yeah. We too are. I am a dense jiggly person.
Then we had the Poison Apple, which was that dark chocolate apple mousse, and the Sour Center. I don't know if mine maybe was just assembled differently or I just didn't get it. I didn't get the Sour Center in mine. I really just got a lot of the dark chocolate. I'm not a big dark chocolate person, but I felt like with the mousse, it was like a nice texture. It was easy to eat, whatever. I feel like the only thing that I'm getting here from the desserts, and it's like they're meant to fill you up, so you're like, well, I was full at the end. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I don't know.
That is true.
I'm not blown away by any of it.
I mean, I did eat most of mine, but it was small portions. The poison apple was, in all fairness, better than I thought it was going to be. I feel like when you hear mousse at Disney, sometimes I think it's going to like be lacking flavor, but they were certainly cute.
When I hear mousse at Disney, I usually think someone's calling me a name. Craig, what did you think of the desserts?
What do I think? I think that you can eat across from people for months and months and months and realize that they might not have taste buds or some sort of like long-term illness that has prevented them from tasting, because that cookies and cream panna cotta to me, like I took one bite and was like, this is the definition of a great cookies and cream dessert. From the all-time greats, from cookies and cream ice cream to the Oreo cookie, which like I don't know how they didn't get that flavor from it. I got it. Yes, panna cotta is not for everyone because it's basically like standing pudding, but I still really enjoyed that. Then for me, next is that gooseberry pie, like that sour apple style pie. Really, really tart and tasty, and the fact that it was just a little bit warm. If I could have had a little dollop of ice cream with that too, I would have been happy. Honestly, those first two desserts, if I would have had a bigger portion of those by themselves, I would have been more than satisfied. But for me, the dark chocolate mousse at the end, the poison apple that kind of came off tasting like a cherry cordial almost, but just more of an apple cordial, that just wasn't for me. I like dark chocolate, but something about it, just the chocolate with the fruit did not work together. And the candy, the little chocolate heart, I mean, it's a little chocolate heart. It's probably brought to you by Dove. I'm not saying that. It's a pastry chef obviously made it, but I don't know. It's like, to me, it felt like the chocolate you get in your room at the end of the night. It's there, you consider eating it, and then once you do, you're like, well, could have saved those calories for something else. But I think we're going to go ahead and make our way out of the restaurant because someone else probably wants to sit down and meet Snow White and Dopey and Grumpy and the Queen. So we'll go ahead and probably head to Territory Lounge to give you our final thoughts, or just somewhere else in the hotel. It doesn't have to be Territory. It probably will be. It will be.
He's going to be the hunter. Perhaps he could be the sculptor. Maybe. I always wanted to be
Wait, a maid? Is that what you just said? Don't trust her. She said she could put together shelves the other day, and we were at work, and she could not. So I wouldn't.
And listen,
What if she has hardware she needs to put together?
She's for a carpenter.
Oh, well, I guess that's true. Yeah.
I listened to her.
Fair enough. I was supposed to go.
Fairest of them all.
Well, true, absolutely.
Let's get this over with.
The time has come to give our numbers. Hannah, what did you think about the ambiance in there?
I liked it okay. I like the trees in there.
The trees were nice. I like that they
trees.
changed color. I felt like they didn't change color enough.
That is true. I had never been to Artist Point. So
I
I'm
had never been there either.
assuming-
Were those trees new?
I think.
Added for this? I believe they were,
I
yeah.
think so. So that was nice. It was cozy in there. I love the Wilderness Lodge. I love that it felt like the Wilderness Lodge. I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 5. I didn't feel like they changed enough. I felt like like it's all that trees in there, but it still felt like it was a corner restaurant. I felt like it didn't feel as magical as it could be. It could have been more vines. There could have been more with the table. I don't know. So I gave it a 5, and
Okay.
maybe I was too harsh. But
No,
what
I get
what
that.
about food prep and presentation?
I was torn on this one. I gave it a 7, which is higher than I wanted to. I gave it a 7 because of the little tree that they put the
I did like the tree, the
appetizers.
Lazy Susan tree.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And
like
the
a Lazy
desserts.
Suze.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I also liked when she brought out, even though I didn't like the chocolate heart, I like that. You know, so I felt like there was a little,
that's true.
little bit of show element to it. But other than that, I don't feel like anything had like extra garnishes or anything that made it feel like it was a 2-table service credit.
I gave it a
restaurant.
6. I felt
Yeah.
like there was some strong things you were saying. You know, Craig's drink was also good. He had the
true.
smokiness in his drink, but I also felt like they could have had maybe a special topper or the top hat that they smoked it with could have come out with that. You know, for something where it is $65 plus tax or whatever
Yeah.
the price was I said earlier in this video. I can't remember 65 or 67 now, but like there's that little bit more you could be doing. And I thought like the appetizers did not look good, were not plated well. they didn't look appetizing to me. I thought that our meals looked good, but again, it didn't really nothing blew me away.
Yeah.
And it was the same with the desserts. They were fine. I do agree with you though. The smoky box with the chocolates in it.
That was
That was a
cool.
nice thing. So there's something. So I gave it a 6.
Okay.
What about quality of taste? What did you feel like it tasted like?
I tasted
Trees?
tasted like poison apple. It tasted
Yeah.
like a 5 to me. Really? So I didn't love anything I had. Did I think any of it was bad? No, I don't know if it was just the price point being in my head, like this is $65. But yeah, I just feel like and unfortunately, because I guess fortunately and unfortunately, the appetizers and the desserts are what they are. The only thing I could have done differently is my entree.
Yeah,
It is
I
what
guess
it
that is true.
So
I gave it a 7, but now I feel like you've kind of talked me into being because I was on the fence about being a 6, but then I felt like it was being too harsh. But you've made a really good point. It's the only thing that you really have control in, choice-wise, is that entree. And my entree wasn't bad. I thought my
liked yours
entree was
better than
cooked
mine.
well. So it's tough. I think I had the best drink at the table too.
agree.
But again, it wasn't a drink where I'd be like, oh, I'm running back to it. I'm gonna change mine to a 6.
No, is that how this works?
I don't know, but I just did it. So
Okay, it's done. What about service? Tell me about that. Tell
I
me
have
more.
service at a 7. I didn't think anything was particularly bad, but I also I thought everybody was very nice, everybody was very friendly, but it did feel a little bit. It felt just a little bit awkward at times, and I don't, but our server was nice, and it was just, I don't know, it was just, of the character meals that we've been to, the mix of everybody being in the, character attendance, I didn't think, and I didn't think the PhotoPass person or the character, none of them really jumped
I see
out
what
to
you
me.
mean,
Also,
yeah.
the person who took our photo, I'm sorry if they do watch this, but they felt like they were in a really bad mood. I was inconveniencing them, and there was literally no one getting photos taken. So I don't know. Maybe I
You
just
were
have a
their
habit
job.
of getting on people's bad
So
side
it's
or
funny.
whatever,
I know what you mean though, because they give you. So it is nice. They have a PhotoPass photographer for the Evil Queen. But then same thing happened to me. They just threw the PhotoPass card at me. Here's photos. So I mean, hey, I'll take a PhotoPass photo. So same for me. Actually, I gave it a 7. I feel like our server. She did, I mean, I'm sure that's part of working there, but she explained everything that we had. There were a couple of presentation type items, like the chocolate hearts that, she did the thing. But there was never a point where she asked if we wanted anything extra.
I'm also thinking about it. Sorry,
Yeah.
when you
why we're doing
her
like
explaining
this.
the menu, we didn't have menus. It was the scanning the QR code again, and I get. We're at a point right now where I think more places have the
That's a
menu
good
than
point.
not.
Yeah.
So again, we're at this fancy, very, very, I would argue very expensive
Yeah, for sure.
dinner. And if it's prefix, you could have made the menu something special, where
That
they're
would've been cool.
printed or on wood or something, presented to you in a very unique way. And so I
Yeah.
feel like it's a missed opportunity.
That's actually a good point because we got that very cool invitation to meet the Evil Queen, and I think one of us was thought it was a dessert menu because
Yeah, I
it
did.
was.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a good point. That would have been cool, but so it wasn't anything memorable, but it certainly wasn't bad.
All right, here we go. Big one. What was the cost? I have a 4. I was very judgy on the cost. I thought
I get it.
I don't feel like any of the desserts. I am going to beat a dead horse with this. The way they were with the appetizers felt very nickel and dimey, and
Yes,
it
would
didn't
agree.
feel like that sort of. I know there are other places how much more is Hoop-de-Doo review than this, And that's an all you can eat, all you can drink, and there's a show, and there's that thing, how much more.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
What was the meal we kept bringing up that we were we made fun of that?
Well,
goofy...
we made on Goofy's Kitchen at Disneyland. They're bringing back a springtime buffet, and it has crab claws, and so they're charging $75 a person.
Yeah.
And we were clutching our pearls when
And
they
now
said
I'm like,
that,
I don't
and
know.
then that was $65, and it wasn't all you cared to enjoy.
and I also
unquote.
feel like there's only 4 characters in here, and not to be rude
Yeah.
about it, but I do feel like Snow Queen, Snow White, Grumpy, and Dopey, those are all not very hard to find characters, so it wasn't
It's
oh,
the
you're
Evil
getting really
Queen.
exclusive.
I think it's the Evil Queen. I think that's the big
Yes,
ticket
I don't know.
there.
She's always kind of in my business. So I don't
I
feel
like
like
her.
she just randomly shows up behind me sometimes.
I loved her. So I gave it a 6.
Well, I have a 4.
I
Character
know.
interaction, what do you have?
I gave it a 7.
I gave it a 7.
Ooh, lucky number 7.
I thought it was fine. It just like when I think back, I mean, you weren't with us, but when I think back to when we did Mickey's like Hollywood and Vine, the character interaction
I
there
love that
was
one.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like it was every one of them was like plenty of time, lots of emotions, lots of things. And I'm not saying that they weren't bad, that they were bad here.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different vibe, but it is weird because only 3 come to the table and you have to go up to go meet the queen.
Yeah.
So like that process feels a little off. And then because it's like 1 face character, 2 non-face characters, it's that weird vibe. I didn't, I thought the ones we met were good, but there was just something a little bit off for me.
Yeah, they also like for me, they do like a couple of different parades, for lack of a better word, where they play one song
Yeah, that
from
was
movie.
weird though. What does that
And
have
they
to do
didn't-
with anything?
I-
Why was
I
it a
feel
hi ho?
But I feel like they all do. No, that did play when we left, I think. Yeah, it was like at the end. But I mean, I know. So, but we were towards the back of the restaurant, and they didn't like make a full loop. Like they didn't come over by our table, and that was. I mean, I feel like if you had a little kid, like, we did not. So we were the oddballs out.
I was
but,
your little kid.
Speaking of Big Daddy.
Speaking of Big Daddy, what was your total? What does that add up to? Mine
right.
is a 35 out of 60,
Woo.
which comes out to 2.9 out of 5.
Okay, so I'm pretty close to you. I was at a 38 and I came out to a 3.2 out of 5. And as we were just talking about, our numbers, despite this one having characters in it, were similar to our last dining review. So I gotta tell you, I'm sad about this. I was really looking forward to this meal. Like there have been so many times when I've been in the lobby of the Wilderness Lodge and been like, and seen like the little Snow Whites heading off to dinner and they just look so precious. And I was like, that looks like a great time. I love Snow White. I was very excited about it. And yeah, I don't think
I would
I'll be
not
coming
come back.
Unless maybe I hit the lottery and I'm like, whatever, I'll spend
If they changed the
$65
menu,
to-
if the menu was like
Yeah.
completely changed, maybe, but I don't
I
think I'd
know.
come back. I'm saying like with kids, with whatever, I wouldn't.
Sorry,
it
kids,
wasn't,
we're not
it's
coming
not
back.
worth it for me. No. But Craig, what do you think?
What do I think, Rhino? I think that we're setting a record for the amount of times that I get to be more positive in a review than both of you. So if you want to come at me for being grumpy and hating everything Disney, I think there's 2 other people taking the mantle this time around. That being said, this was not a perfect meal. This was not my first time eating at Storybook Dining at Artist Point. I came kind of relatively quickly after it opened because Artist Point was such a favorite restaurant for me, and came with friends and my wife, and we had a good time and we enjoyed each other's company, but we all kind of agreed in the moment, like, happy we did this once. I don't ever need to do it again, except my caveat is eventually I'll have to come for work. And now it's been, I think 7 years, 6 years, 5 years since that, and here I was. But for me, ambiance, I give it a 6. Again, Artist Point was one of my favorites. They really didn't change anything from that restaurant. At this point, it's not even fair to compare because it's been changed for so long. But a lot of those touches that made Artist Point like kind of that lodge style restaurant that I love when you go to a national parks lodge, those touches are still in there, but they added the trees with all the colors changing. So it's great, but at the end of the day too, it's very tight in that restaurant. They packed a lot of tables in there, so it gets a little noisy, and like it's just, it kind of feels like it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's all too much. For food prep and presentation, I only gave it a 6 because I felt like individual items were presented well, but as itself, like as each item on a plate, it wasn't really impressive. Like, because the appetizers and the desserts had to come out with 3 on each plate, it wasn't plated like you would get in a signature restaurant. It was just the items looked good, but they were thrown on there, and the entrees definitely weren't impressive in that way either. So I thought that the presentation was just not spectacular, but the quality and taste, I gave it a 7. We did try all of each other's food, and I thought Hannah's was the best, despite it being on the salty side. I would have gotten that. if I had the choice to go back in time, I was stopping to think, like, would I have gotten that, or was I happy with mine? I think Hannah's would have slightly out-edged mine, and then Rhino's would have been last. But there was nothing that I like really hated except for the one dessert and the shrimp. Otherwise, I was pretty happy with everything. For service, I didn't interact with the PhotoPass people because I only wanted to get pictures and videos of the queen by herself. So the only people I interacted with in the restaurant really were the people who were seating us, as well as our server. And I thought our server was charming. I don't know if it's just that she got closer to me than the other two, but she did ask us twice if we wanted to get second rounds of drinks. And I mean, in terms of the other food, you get your one entree. It's not an all you care to enjoy experience, so there was nothing really else for her to offer us. So I thought she explained everything well. Thought she was extremely friendly. She let us pace out our meal when she realized, like, okay, you guys are falling behind quickly. Like, you haven't eaten your appetizers yet because you're meeting characters. Cost, I'm gonna give it a 5 because for me, I felt like the appetizer trio, like if you ordered an appetizer trio at another restaurant, maybe that would be like $10. Same thing for the dessert. Like that was a $10 dessert trio we got. The entrees, Hannah's would have been worth like $25. Rhino's would have been like 30-ish. Mine would have been like 35, maybe 40 max. So then once you factor in, well, you're paying for characters too, I'm struggling to get to that $65 price point. So for me, it doesn't quite get there. There could have been a better quality to it all, and the cost would have went up because the characters, you know, they add a lot, but it's not everything in the world for me. But 4 characters, I gave that an 8, and I factored my numbers. We had 4 characters we got to meet. I thought the queen was really awesome, so I gave her a 10 out of 10. Dopey was on fire with these two especially, so I gave him a 10 out of 10. Grumpy was as well too. He was in it, 10 out of 10. But then I felt like Snow White kind of showed up to our table, wanted to talk for like maybe 15 seconds, and then was like, okay, let's get pictures, and then was glad to move on very quickly. So that for me, it was like a 2. So when I factored that all in, that's how I got to my 8 as the average. So that left me at a total of 40 out of 60, or a 3.3 out of 5, which that is on the low side. And I feel like, you know, if you were there with kids, you're there to see them happy at getting to meet the characters. They're going to be happy. But I feel like it's this weird blend because Artist Point, sorry to keep harping on it, that was a signature restaurant. That was fine dining. And so I felt like when they transferred it over to this style of restaurant, they could have still tried to get that aspect for adults, but threw in the kids, like being happy with the characters and had a nice balance of the two. And I feel like they kind of forgot about that. And it's like, okay, well, we'll lower the food quality and that experience, add the characters, and call it a day. So it just feels like they could do more, but I'm happy we got to eat here. You know, it's also the company you're with. I will never turn down dining with Rhino and Hannah. So I had a great time, but it will be years before I come back here again. And I'm not sad about that, but excited to try new things and other character dining experiences that I appreciate a whole lot more than this one. So that's going to do it for this Disney dining review. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen and watch it. If you want to support us more, book a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. The free no obligation quote today at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Please also support us on Patreon. You get exclusive content over at patreon.com/DISUnlimited. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave comments, questions, video suggestions in the comments section. And if you're listening to this, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us good ratings and reviews when possible. But that's it for us at Wilderness Lodge. We'll see you again next time we are out with another Disney dining review. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay hungry.
Yummy, yummy.